So I'm sitting there enjoying my Black Rifle coffee, and enjoying my Black Rifle brew, having myself a good time. Just rode my USO fitness bike on my Mint mobile phone, going out and getting a scholarship from Southern New Hampshire University. Just want to see how many partners I can throw in a fun sentence. And then I see the Joe Schoen press conference come on at 3:00. It's the Joe Schoen press conference. Dun, dun, dun. Because you knew there was going to be some stupidity wrapped in some ignorance with Joe Schoen. And it was and I came in at the worst time. I think it was the worst time to come in at. It was they were asking Joe Schoen if he made any mistakes in reference to the quarterback situation, in reference to how he handled the quarterback situation, how he handled the quarterback room, and I you know what, I pulled the clip, so I just have to pay. I gotta play the clip. Hold on. All right, he's a fucking moron. The options are available: Russell Wilson and Justin Fields for a 7th rounder, I believe it was, or no, 5th rounder or whatever it was, a 7th rounder, and Malik Willis and a merry band of others. Okay, if not a good fit, you can't make them come.
That's what she said.
But you were the first person to get to interview Russell Wilson. You were the first person. You were stop number uno on the Russell Wilson tour. It's the Russell Wilson Victory Tour. And he wanted veteran minimum, 1.5, 1.2 million, whatever exactly it is. He really wanted no cash. He wanted to go to a place so he could start. He wanted to go to a place that he can compete. He wanted to go to a place that he could be part of the organization. And you told him Daniel Jones is our starter. And now you're saying, well, you can make, sometimes you can make them come, sometimes you can't. That's just the way free agents are. No, dumbass. You told him Daniel Jones is our starter. That was your thought process, your philosophy. That was the Joe Schoen mindset. Joe, please once again tell us how free agency works. Well, players can go where they want, players can do what they want to do, but we can't force them to come here. No, but you can literally make them welcome. You could literally tell him, even if you don't 100% mean it in your heart, that, hey, listen, you'll have the opportunity to compete for a job against Daniel Jones. We heard the rumors with Drew Lock, and it came out from Drew Lock's agent that everyone says, no, that wasn't true. Drew Lock's agent came out and said that Drew Lock was going to get an opportunity to compete for the job versus Daniel Jones, and you decided to give Drew Lock $5 million. But you know what? Sometimes free agents go, and sometimes free agents come, man. You can't sit here and force them to come here and do things. You literally make my fucking head hurt. You do. And just that answer alone, just that answer alone is dumbfounding and befuddling. We got to listen to this quick. I got another clip we got to listen to. Hold on, guys. Here's another clip. We're a high profile show now. No, dumbass. I'm talking about the guy behind you. I love that. What? You're talking about me specifically? Joe. Knock, knock. Who's there? You're the general manager. It's the Kamala Harris. It's the Kamala Harris answer. We cannot be burdened from what has been or what is now. We have to be unburdened by that because we have Tyler Nubin. Julian Love misread the market. Giants offered him $10 million. He said no. He left. Goes to Seattle. Seattle gives him this deal. He comes back hat in hand 2 years ago with this contract and says, hey, listen, you match us, I will come back and be a Giant. You grew this kid out of Notre Dame into a player, and you let him go for no money to Seattle, but that's okay. You got Tyler Nubin 2 years later. Tyrone Tracy, yes, he's got 2 good games. And, well, yeah, Saquon Barkley is jumping over guys fucking backwards. And potentially he's going to run for about 1,800 yards. The question is this. Are the Giants going to be good when Dexter Lawrence is at the end of that contract? Are the Giants going to be good while Andrew Thomas is at the end of that deal? Are they still going to be good, competent players? Are they going to be at the end of high-value contracts? I love this clip too. Hold on. We got to play another clip. Then I'm going to get everyone in the chat. So everyone just hold on. We're going to get to everyone. I always love it because you can't see it because he's got the ball of water. He's doing this. Joe, do you expect to be back? Joe, do you expect to be back next year? Yes. Oh my God. AKA, we are going to be stuck with these idiots for another fucking year, unless something disastrous happens. I love this. This question. I love this about the players that we have in the building. Hold on. This is another good clip. Hold on. This is a gift that wait till the video tomorrow. It's going to be like 4.5 hours long. Do you remember the games in Minnesota last year and how they won the 1-point games? Did you fucking forget that? I know you don't have your phone in front of you, and I understand that because your brilliance is just so dumbfounding for us. That could possibly start with the quarterback, who you decided was better than Russell Wilson, better than Justin Fields, better than Malik Willis, better than other guys that you could potentially brought in, better than guys you could have potentially drafted. There was a guy named Michael Penix you probably could have grabbed as well, because you had to go save Daniel Jones's career by drafting a wide receiver at 6, but everything's okay. Don't worry about it. Everything's okay. Don't look at it. Do not look behind the man in the mirror, please. Please don't. I love it because this guy. I don't know who that reporter is, but he's dropping knowledge. He's dropping facts. Like you're this at point differential. Joe Shane's like, yeah, well, I'm the smartest guy in the room because we all know who could who could screw up 5 and 7. I got an idea. Crazy idea. CB1. Maybe you need a new one. Oh, no, you gave $160 million to a bum and told us everything was going to be okay. Remember, guys, everyone watching this, this is Daniel Jones's year. Just remember that, because you're not going to have a $45 billion quarterback handing it off to a $12 billion running back. Maybe if you had a $12 billion running back, you might score. I love it. Well, that's what you're 10 weeks into the season. Well, we're gonna look at that this week. We're gonna sit down and examine why we don't score. It's only been 10 weeks into the season, 6 weeks in training camp, the entire off season, everything else. But we're gonna stop, break it down right now, and figure it out. Execution comes down to coaching. How about interceptions? The one thing I learned from this press conference is Joe Schoen is beyond delusional. Let's just play the last clip, because I want to get to everyone. It says any decision made by Daniel Jones starting status will be football decisions, has nothing to do with salary cap. I've said it before. I've said it a million times with certain people. Sometimes you just want to punch someone in the back of the head and say, "What are you thinking? Joe, what are you thinking?" Let's get to the chat to talk about this presser, if you want to call it that. Dr. Garrett, I'm getting there. Here we go. Wait. Let's get into the presser. Michael, he says, "Good afternoon, Tim and fellow religious members. Smash that like button on the way in." Matthew says, "Slap the like button. Mara is going to do it to Shane soon. I hope to gosh so." Mike Lee says, "And make sure you use the pimp slapping hand." Talking about my pimp juice. To Mike Lee also says, "If you think the Giants need to do a liquidation sale, smash that like button." Alexander says, "The press conference was rough." This press conference was terrible. The press conference was god awful. The press conference made me sit there and want to vomit. It made me sit there and look at this entire team, this entire organization, and say, thank God I'm a Packers fan. You could tell by all the non-Giant stuff I have behind me. It's fun to root for a team that wins and gets it and has a good coach and a great general manager and players and an organization that just drafts quarterbacks and linebackers and defensive ends and offensive tackles. What's up, Walla Walla Walla? Happy Tuesday. Hey, what's up, Tim? Evan, the press conference might have been the worst I've ever seen. You know what the worst part it was? You knew I saw someone call him Pinocchio. You knew he was lying. His nose was growing a foot by every moment that he spoke. And to sit there and just continuously think that the Giants are, I got to say one thing. You had Cramerica Industries over on Twitter got into a little bit with Carl Banks. And I love the fact that Carl Banks is telling him, because he basically said that you and Bob Papa just don't speak the truth, and you and Bob Papa just don't say what you need to say because you're being paid by John Mayer. And Carl Banks is like, "Hey, I'm not one of your peeps, man. And if you're going to tell me like that, something you should do in person." Carl Banks, I've been trying to get you to talk to me in person for a year now. So there's that old song, "Practice what you preach." Okay. Afternoon, Daniel. What's going on? Dr. Garrett says, his nose just keeps growing. It does. How many producers, sponsors, plugs can Tim get in? Lol. Who said he's not professional? Yeah, I don't understand. Why do people want to advertise on this show? I have no fucking clue. No clue. I got another we're going to do another live event. We're going to do another live event from a bar again. Go fucking figure that one out. Dr. Garrett says, "How about Brian Burns? Everything with this team is a joke." It really is. We've reached a point that we are a laughingstock. We have reached a point that we no longer have an understanding of how football works. We have an ownership that doesn't get. I started watching the Wellington Mara thing yesterday with the Duke. I started watching that. And I've met Wellington Mara. I've met Wellington Mara on 3 separate occasions. I've talked about this. I've met Wellington Mara when I was a kid on the field in the Meadowlands in the November in '86, because my father did work with Wellington. So I'm never going to say I know the man personally, but you could tell that he cared about his team. You could tell about ever since that miracle in the Meadowlands with Herm Edwards return fumble off the Joe Pisarcik, Larry Zonka fumble. He knew he had to step aside. He knew he had to step away. He knew he had to bring in a George Young. We just keep bringing in shit that just keeps getting worse. If it looks like shit and it smells like shit and it tastes like shit, and that's what it is. And that's what this organization has been going on 10 plus years. 6 of them have been quarterbacked by the same guy. Mike Lee says, I think it's DJ's contract that the Giants can. What do we got here? Ronnie, what does Ronnie B says? Joe Schoen, he is a joke. And it's not even a funny joke anymore. It's not even knock, who's there? Who could screw up 5 and 7? Oh, Shane must go. Big old T-Brod's in the house. Said he says, clueless Joe. You have shoeless Joe and you have clueless Joe. But to sit there and be asked with a straight face if there was anything that you would have done differently in free agency in reference to the quarterback and go, no. You could not just tell Russell Wilson. You couldn't be a little deceptive. Oh, and say, Russell, sure, we'll give you a opportunity to compete for the job. Everyone, except if your name is Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or blank, should be pressed for their job at the quarterback position, especially if you have been flaming out for 5 years. Mike Lee says, I think it's the DJ's contract and Giants can draft a trade for a competent quarterback that could threaten his number 1 position. You're right. Daryl says, what's up, Daryl? We should fire Shane, make Brandon Brown the GM and the senior scout, and call it the running back boom and the assistant general manager. You know what? I'm actually getting on board now with the Bill Belichick thing. But my Bill Belichick thought process is different than everyone else. I don't want him to coach the team. I don't want him to be the general manager of the team. Bill Belichick is in his 70s. He's already having a little bit of a truculent situation with what happened with Joe Judge, some of the comments he's made about this team and the Giants, but make him the president of football operations. Have him oversee everything and make him omnipotent. Make him God of the New York Giants. Have him hire the general manager. Have him and the general manager hire the coach and have this brain trust turn into a Borg, turn into a collective, and have them bring the right people in. Joe Schoen talks about how he's got all these guys under contract now and how they all have this continuity now. Joe, you've had 3 drafts. I hope to God you got a lot of guys under contract. We did it, Joe, says Alexander. Joe is incompetent. Yeah. KTS, I have to agree with that. Michael says, get rid of the clown show. Tim, I know you don't like him, but Belichick is the answer. I should have read that before I went into my Belichick rant. But that's why I said, make Bill Belichick president of football operations. I'll even come out of retirement, Bill. I'll be your quality control of YouTube. Giant YouTube. Dr. Garrett says, Dale Jones is going to stick around and serve medium Pepsis for those keeping their season tickets. The question is this. Here's the big question in my life. Season tickets are going to be coming up before you know it. And honestly, depending on our draft position, depending on our thought process, depending on what the hell's going on, I'm probably not going to renew. Sorry, G-Men. I may save money and let them and maybe just go to Packer games. Mike Lee says, I guess Tim is the only one that can hear the clips. Oh, you didn't hear the clips? We can't hear anything. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't know you couldn't hear the clips. I apologize. That was weird. Oh, shit, because I had the clip button off. Mara keeps hiring those clowns to run the organization to the ground. What did I miss? Fire Joe Schoen. Breaking news. Pinocchio is not the smartest guy in the room. Big dog status. I love this. Uncrustable eating Joe. He's the uncrustable eating motherfucker. That's what I called him the other day in a video. And Uncrustables don't taste good. There's nothing better than slapping some PBJ on some bread and calling it a day. Sam Tracy, who fumbled in overtime. I can't blame Tracy. And I can't, because so many people are still busting Tracy's ass about this. Bill, the anointed one, Bill Parcells, said it best. You have 6 or 7 plays in a game that lead up to that one play that you say costed you the game. You get on the plus side of those 6 or 7 plays. That play at the end of the game then doesn't matter because you're never there. That's what good teams understand. Evan says, I hate it when he said he had to accelerate the process after signing Jones. That would never get you anywhere. I agree. We are wasting Dexter's prime. That's the other thing. We are wasting the prime. Is Dexter Lawrence going to still be Dexter Lawrence in his prime when we are finally good? Is Andrew Thomas going to be in his prime and healthy enough when we are finally good? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. These are the questions we need to ask, because you need to have this full, complete understanding of what's going on. I can't believe I played the clips and you guys couldn't hear it. Now I'm upset. Hold on. Let me see if can you. Hold on. I got to go back now. I got to go back now and see if that was the button that caused the problem. Hold on. All right, for some reason, the clips aren't going through the soundboard right now. My whole soundboard's all screwed up. I don't know what the hell's going on. What a presser. Lots of words, nothing said. That always is a press conference. Says, my big old James Williams. What's up, James? Didn't even hear market Dexter Lawrence the way we should, shaking our head. Yeah, but at least Dexter Lawrence has a commercial. At least he's got a chunky commercial. I sent an equality message, and I'm excited to... I like when people text me when I'm working. I saw Dahmer. Where are you? I saw you, Dahmer, somewhere. Where do we go? Can't hear the clips. I know. Leave me the hell alone. Cream says, how's it going, Tim, at work? And it was the uncrustable Joe Schoen press conference today. It was no good. No audio play. I know. I got to figure out what the hell's going on with my whole equipment here. But Dr. Gio said, Tim doesn't want to play the audio since it was too painful for the first time. That's why I did it. These audio clips, just as Joe Schoen's draft picks, is a lot of nothing. Hey-o. Hey-o. Joe Schoen sounds like a stupid AI creation that doesn't work very well. Great. Basketball is my new interest, so screw this garbage franchise. He sounds like Joe Judge did his last days of press conference and the one that got him fired. Mr. Alvarez says, hey, Tim, Joe Schoen looked at loss as he did in the first press conference. He just looks like both Schoen and Dable are on their way out. It looks like they're both under this thought process that they could potentially be moved on from. They could potentially no longer be in a situation where they are part of the New York Giants. I know, anytime they always say it, anytime you get the thumbs up or we have faith in these guys still, it's always the kiss of death for these teams. For these people, it always is the kiss of death. And so when you get the attaboy A-OK for management, you probably should watch your back. Giants took Commanders' place as the bottom feeders flawless. It's tragically hilarious. You know what's funny about the Commanders? How about Bobby Johnson? The offensive line looks really good. Maybe it wasn't the talent because we brought in a whole new set of offensive linemen. Oh, we got to learn from the Giants. We got to learn from the Giants. Or takeaways from Joe Schoen's bi-week press conference. There is no takeaways. Cowardly little Joe started everything. He did. It all starts with Joe Schoen. It all starts with the smartest guy in the room, because we said it before. People say that I'm a genius, but how can you really screw up 5 and 7? But Genius Joe. Clean sweep. I like this one by Luke. Clean sweep. DJ Dable Schoen. I like this one from Blazing. Tim, I'm not tasting the shit. That was pretty funny. What people are texting me? Why don't you people know that I'm working? Shane says trust. Oh yeah, Joe Schoen at one point in the podcast also says trust the process. Let's see here. Zonka was partly to blame for that. You know who was partly to blame for that? The head coach of the football Giants at that point in time, because all you got to do was fall on the ball. Even Pasarchik wanted to change the planes to fall on the ball. It was a botched handoff. It was both the Pasarchik and Zonka's fault. Hindsight is 2020, but the Giants could have Flores as head coach, roll Poles as the GM. Remember when I said that I wanted that? Remember when I did a video that says I would hire Ryan Poles and Brian Flores? Remember I said it? Remember when I did a video about that? That I wanted a hard-nosed, defensive-minded coach that's going to whip these guys into shape and make them understand how to play the nuances of football. And make sure you hit the like people. We got 100 people into the chat, another 50-something over on the Twitter sphere. Please like the chat. Hindsight is 2020, but the Giant, I already talked about that. Dr. Garrett says, we would have known that we actually downgraded at the GM position in 2022. He makes you miss Gettleman, doesn't? Let's see. Dable and Schoen were very few redeeming qualities. I don't know if I want them choosing our future quarterback or coaching him. That's a great question. That is a great point. What gives you the confidence that Joe Schoen is going to pick the right guy? What gives you the confidence that Brian Dable is going to coach him up? We've said this before. Take a look at Brian Dable's track record outside of college, outside of the Buffalo Bills. It's not impressive. It's not. So what makes you think? And then he is the quarterback guru who got 3,000 yards and 15 touchdowns out of Daniel Jones when Pat Shurmur got 20 plus out of him touchdown-wise as a rookie. So Shurmur is a better OC or coach than Dable? Dion? You know what? I don't think Dion's going to let his kid come here. I really don't. Kill Cam is who we need. I think we need. Oh, Dom says, who let them back from Europe? Not me, man. I wanted to cancel their passports. I wanted to call the TSA. I called Homeland Security, and they still somehow got over. Under contract and over the cap. That sums up that truly sums up the Joe Schoen philosophy of salary cap and roster management. We're going to be under contract and over the cap. And we're just going to let other guys go to other teams, and they're going to progress into players like Evan Ingram. Poor Evan Ingram. Second most catches in NFL history in a single season by a tight end last year. But he couldn't catch the ball in New York. Mike Lee says we might have people under contract, but are they the right people? No. I forgot answering. Blazin says carpooling. Talk to us, Tim. Hey, how are your carpooling's going? Everyone that's in Brazen's car, how you doing? Hope you're having a nice carpool. Stay safe. Don't forget to turn off the auto renew. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Matthew. I do think it's like 319. I'm actually probably going to turn off the auto renew tomorrow. Matthew says, unless DJ is cut by then, of course. Dominic says, good job. We didn't pay a quarterback and just hand the ball off to a right back 20 times a game. Joe Schoen is Kamala Harris. He is unburdened by what has been and unburdened what could be. Because when you have the ear of the general man, when the general manager has the ear of the owner, who already doesn't have a great track record, and you want that person to be the right person in your organization, and you do nothing for 3 years, you should definitely get a fourth. Snore, same old story. Douglas says, don't slander Uncrustables. It's the only thing I agree with Joe about. Hey-oh. Dominic says, maybe if Trump put tariffs on things coming in from Europe, the Giants would have the cap space to bring Jones back since it costs them 20% more. We don't have the cap space. We had to get rid of Nick McLeod. So it didn't work. We just criticize them, analyze them while they make the mistakes. I'm sick of it. I'm like being a Giant fan, but you joined man. You know what the thing is with this being a Giant fan? I've been a Giant fan through the good. I've been a Giant fan through the bad. I've been in that stadium in some of the worst possible scenarios and situations going back to the Meadowlands. And I just sit there and I think to myself, we've reached a segment in time where we are back into the 70s. We're back in the Andy Robustelli years. We're back in the McVay Jr. era. We're back to where we never thought we would ever be, and we're there again. And the situation isn't getting any better because we don't have a quarterback. The moment the ink dried on that deal for Daniel Jones, and I had to hear repeatedly what an awesome deal that was, what a great deal that was, that the Giants knocked it out of the park. It's basically a 2-year deal with a 3-year out. And I kept telling people right then and there, I said, I don't like the contract, because I said, if you sign this deal and he flames out vis-a-vis injury or he's incompetent, it's going to set the franchise back another 5 years. And once again, you have no idea what you're talking about, Tim. And I kept telling people, and I've been telling people since the moment that ink dried on that deal, this is bad. We may not be competitive again until 2026, 2027. And I said, look at it. 2023, if we flame out, that's year one of being bad. 2024, year two of being bad. You draft a quarterback in 2025. You hope that quarterback turns the corner in 2026 and becomes something, and you hope you build a roster around him in 2027. That's 5 years. And everyone keeps telling me you don't know what you're talking about. But how come I don't know what I'm talking about so much that if you wait, I tell people I'm like Novocaine. You may hate me. You may not want to understand or hear what I'm saying, but when the circle of life comes around like Simba and it comes around, I'm normally right. But nobody wants to hear that. They want to hear, well, that's just a great deal. No, Jalen Hurts' deal was a great deal. Jalen Hurts isn't making Daniel Jones money until like 2026, and then the out is in 2027. And he got all of his money up front in this huge-ass bonus, which he knew was going to wreck the cap in reference to the dead cap space. But here was the problem. He knew he wasn't cutting Jalen Hurts in the first 3 years, so it didn't matter what the dead cap number was. Bench Jaden Drones. I would think we should do that. Tracy understood the assignment. If you blame him, you are the problem. The Ninja Strike. Yeah, I'm having so many problems with my computer and my soundboard and everything else. I'm gonna have to have a sit down day now that I don't have any other partner videos coming up and try to figure out what the hell's going on with everything down here. You see, I wasn't such a bad OC after all. Jason Garrett. I've been saying Jason Garrett somewhere laughing. And people thought I was crazy when I said Jason Garrett had some of the best well-designed game plans, entire game plans for his quarterback. It just wasn't executed. And this Jason Garrett offense is no different than the Brian Dable offense that we are running now. Because Jason Garrett understood. Joe Judge, who I never like to give credit for anything, understood you cannot let Daniel Jones beat you. Not as a team, not as an opponent, but as your own organization. We still haven't figured it out yet. I love this one. Don't play favorites. Everyone on this team is incompetent. Kevin says, do you really, Bill, picking up the GM? The guy has given us Joe Judge, Josh McDaniels, and continues Belichick's disciples. No, I don't want him. I don't want Belichick as a GM. No, I don't. I want Belichick as the president of football operations, who is then going to hire the GM, and then him and the GM are going to hire the coach, and then they're going to go through it all together. That's what I want. This is a bad comedy. Worthless jinx. Dom says, dreaded vote of confidence. You know that's the vote of confidence is always the kiss of death. We have full confidence in Joe Schoen and Brian Dable. You're fired. Joe Schoen to blame Bobby Johnson's failing here. They should have. There's like 2 or 3 games now in Washington. They haven't given up a sack. And people will sit there and go, well, yeah, it's because you got a running quarterback in Jaden Daniels. You talk to any offensive lineman, especially when you play behind someone like Michael Vick and other people, they will tell you they are the worst people in the world. A running quarterback is the worst quarterback to block for because you never know where that quarterback's going to be. What does Joe have to say? Joe Schoen saying we're not far off makes me realize how he lost the plot. Gone are the days when the GM who knows how to build the team and can win a Super Bowl with their backup hostile quarterback. We lost the plot. He lost it all. I mean, Joe Schoen slowly lost me going after the first season. Slowly has. And his personnel decisions, and like I said, watching him in Hard Knocks, I was just like, wow, I really dislike him. I always go back to the impromptu Uno game at his house because they were just trying to be like regular people, trying to be like a regular family. And his wife is wearing this denim hat and everything's bedazzled and everything's sitting there and they're sitting there playing Uno. And I remember I was talking to someone and they told me my wife watched that and they said, yeah, my wife doesn't sit there in her bedazzled outfit and play Uno unless you're on TV. What do we got here? The team really gave a damn about moving on from Barkley. They would have went into the fucking 5th round to draft a running back. Here's the problem. If you knew you weren't going to bring Barkley back, if you knew you weren't going to bring Xavier McKinney back, if more than likely you know you're not bringing Darius Slayton back, more than likely you're not going to re-sign the Azeez Ojulari, wouldn't you trade him? Same with Julian Love. Wouldn't you trade him? And then you sit there with
King of the almost sack.
Then you sit there with King of the almost sack and you tell us, well, we basically told him that Leonard, he could go anywhere he wanted, but if he didn't want to go, we weren't going to trade him. Bullshit. You didn't have any money to sign a quarterback, Joe. That's why you traded Leonard Williams. I know you're not. Joe is the swarmy used car salesman. That's what he is. You listen to him and you're like, I'm watching you. And yeah, you're going to give general manager speak, but I'm also afraid that you are still going to try to make a decision on something. I am so sick of this team trying to fix a hole with a tiny Band-Aid when you know what I mean. Yeah, it's like trying to fix a bullet wound with a Band-Aid. We're going to repeat everything. All of us. I'm sick of it. Me too. James Wing says, if this was a casino, Joe would be getting Joe Pesci under the dirt. Get out the shovels. Brandon says, when the reporter asked, did you regret not bringing in Russell Wilson? And pause, you can see he was lying. A lot of the answers were opposite of what he actually thought he knows. He fucked up. Here's the problem, Brandon. I don't think so. I literally think Joe Schoen thought to him when he answered. I'm so mad that I can't get the damn clips to play. And I probably could record them on the soundboard and play it now, but I'm not going to do that. But Joe Schoen literally, in my mind, I think Joe Schoen literally thought to himself, no, I did nothing wrong. You told Russell Wilson he was going to back up Daniel Jones. And Russell Wilson decided to go to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's 4-2 with Justin Fields, and they bench Justin Fields to bring in Russell Wilson. James says, hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. I want 100 likes today. Hard to agree with James. Hit that like button. Mike Lee says, Wifey can't screw up picking up Wiley can't screw up picking up the first round quarterback since he doesn't draft quarterbacks. That's the other thing. I call him a used car salesman. He's also a tire kicker. Joe Schoen, if you are a car salesman, comes on. He's the guy that comes onto the lot every weekend, kicks the tires, looks around, looks at the car, and goes, yeah, I wish it had real Corinthian leather. I'll come back next week. And then he never buys shit. Joe says the only quarterback subject, Joe Schoen has proven that he will incorrectly evaluate quarterbacks. He incorrectly evaluates talent all the time. Joe Schoen will not draft White Vic in Buffalo. Josh Allen. I think they locked Joe Schoen in the bathroom during that draft in Buffalo. Matthew says Dable was mediocre as an OC except for one season of Josh Allen. Thank you. But then people will tell me, well, he was great in college, man. And I'm going to say it like I said it before. When fucking Vanderbilt is on our schedule, then I'm going to call Brian Dable to be the offensive coordinator. Doctor says, I'd sign up for Brandon Brown, Dion and his kid. For Christ's sake, Sterling Shepard is getting significant minutes at Tampa. Not bad for supposedly a washed-up player. You're 100% right. Matthew says, why wouldn't they target like Ben Johnson, someone who actually succeeds at a high-ranking offense? Because we're stupid. Bruce says, I don't trust anyone who thinks Daniel Jones is an NFL quarterback to run a team. That's the thing. How can you trust him? He sat there at his desk at Hard Knocks and said, I got to do my Joe Schoen impression. Daniel Jones is our guy. He's going to have a career year. That's the Joe Schoen impression. Matthew says, also makes me wonder if they should give Mike Kafka more responsibility. Yes, Mike Kafka, I was thinking about this. You are 100% right, Matthew. Mike Kafka should get more responsibility. Not only should be in charge of getting the coffee, but he also should be in charge of getting the donuts. The Mike Kafka hire was one of the worst hires that I've ever seen, and I kept telling people, you are bringing in a first-year offensive coordinator, and you're not doing what they did in KC in reference to having the offensive coordinator install the plan, but having the head coach call the game plan. No, they weren't doing that. They turned over the reins to a first-year guy who should have been fired, who we thought there and said, we're going to let him go. We're going to go coach in college. No college team wanted him as a head coach. His own alma mater didn't want him. But don't worry. He's good enough to come in here and be the OC of the Giants. T-Brad, you have been all hail the T-Brad. T-Brad has been saying Joe must go for how long now? T-Brad has been saying Joe must go. I think, I see why the clip didn't play. The browser's over there and the browser needs to be over here. Oh, okay. Okay. So if I was to do that, hold on a minute. Let me see here. Watch this. Hold on. Wait a minute. I got an idea, guys. Hold on. Wait. Let's just see if this works. I think that works. I see what I did. All right. We have to see what we have in Jones. It's only been 6 years. Mike, what does Mike have says? Yep. Uncrustables are on my lunch 60% of the times. Mike, I am going to give you, so you can stop being Joe Schoen. I love you, Mike. You know that. And so you can stop being Joe Schoen. I am going to give you the online Big Blue recipe for peanut butter and jelly. Okay. 2 pieces of bread, some peanut butter and jelly. There you go. Put it on bread and then you put it in a little plastic baggie and then you eat that. Oh, hell, I don't even know who to trust in the fucking secondary. You drafted Deonte Banks. You're riding Deonte Banks like Zorro because he dogged it on a couple plays, but I watched Bobby Okereke and other players on the defense dog it as well. I think at sometimes we have lost the competitive nature and competitive edge in the locker room, but he is your second-year cornerback having issues. You bench him, but Malik Neighbors calls out the quarterback. Malik Neighbors at times looks disinterested. And you sit there and say, well, you know what? You OBJ it. Again, we are 2-8. Yes, we are. Just took down the whole just took down the whole press conference. They did. They just took down the whole press. They did because they had it up off their YouTube. Yeah, because the Giants are chicken shit. That's the problem. That's the issue with this team. That's the issue with this organization. You know what? Stand up and say, yes, I screwed up. I'm going to tell people right now the secret to life and being successful in business. And I hope Joe Schoen, Carl Banks, Brian Dable, everyone else is listening to this because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to impart some knowledge on you right now that is going to make you're just going to be like, wow, Tim. Hey, wait.
Hey, why are you always picking on me, man?
I'm sorry, Carl. I couldn't find the Carl Banks. I couldn't find the baby Carl Banks button. Here's the thing, the philosophy in life. Here is a way to get yourself out of trouble, especially in business. Here's what I did to be extremely successful in the corporate world. I'm going to tell you this right now. No matter what, just admit it. Stand tall before the man. It may suck. But you sit there and you come right out and you say, yes, we fucked up and we fucked up bad. And we are sorry that we did this and we know what we did and we know what we need to do. And we have to figure out how to make this better. And let's stop focusing on what we've done, but let's start focusing on fixing the problem. Admit to your mistakes immediately, because when you admit to your mistakes immediately, what happens? You have now disarmed everybody. Because everyone is more important about figuring out pointing blame and saying, okay, Bob did this and John did this. Everyone's more concerned about doing that than they are about sitting there and trying to fix the problem. So what you do in corporate America, what you do in life is you just admit it. I did it. I'm sorry. I fucked up. I screwed up really bad. And this is what the end result was. But now we need to fix it. So if there's no one to blame now, you have totally defused the situation. And then you get some more cachet with some people. You get some more confidence with people. People will then sit there and tell you, you know what? He's admitting to what they just did. But if you always sit there and point blame everywhere else and sit there and deflect and sit there and have Joe Schoen sit there and go, no, would you do anything different? Nope. Wouldn't do anything different. Because you want to know why? I'm fucking awesome. You can be cocky. You can be arrogant. But the problem is this. Kid Rock said it best. I may be cocky, and you say, what? It ain't bragging, motherfucker, if you back it up. You are cocky to the point, Joe Schoen, where you don't brag. You don't back anything up. Come out and be contrite. Come out and say, yes, you know what? We have put a shitty product on this field for X amount of years. We are sorry to the fans. We are sorry to the season ticket holders. We are sorry to everyone that has had to go through the Daniel Jones experience. We are going to do better. We are going to do better, not only for the franchise, not only for the city, not only for the fans, not only for the NFL, but for everyone in its entirety. And if they really did take the presser off of YouTube, that would show to me that this is a chicken shit organization that doesn't understand that, you know what? You are going to make mistakes in life. Things are going to go wrong. But if you stand tall and say, yes, we made mistakes. Regrets. I've had a few, but then again, I did it my way. That's what you need to do. Cody says, Tim, what are your thoughts on everything? What are your thoughts on the next 7 games? I think we're going to win like 1 game. I think we're going to win it. Danny Dinks, but no dunks. Why does this team show so much loyalty and respect to Dan Jones? I think Mara still sees Eli in him. Only explanation. I don't know if they're still going to be showing this amount of loyalty anymore to Daniel Jones. I really don't, because I don't see what he's done to earn it. Yeah, he's a good kid. Yeah, he helps old ladies across the street. But what does that do for you at the end of the day? There is a great scene in Glengarry Glen Ross with Alec Baldwin when he's talking about how tough it is being a salesperson. And he literally says, you're a great dad. Fuck you. Stay home and play with your kids. I don't need someone that's going to sit there and not be competitive. I'm not going to sit there and have someone who is not going to do something for this organization and for this team that is going to allow us to move forward, to win. No, this is what I want. I want to be competitive. I want to win. And I just want to have an organization that understands that we need to move forward. We need to have this understanding. We need to just be good. And you can't just continuously sit there and put this vibe out there that we are going to somehow get better down the road with this organization when we are a bunch of losers. And it's a losing mental philosophy that I think this team goes through each year, with the understanding that there is no understanding, that there is no thought process behind this organization. There is no feel for this team. And we can sit here and talk about how we're going to be competitive and talk about how we're going to do this and talk about how everything's going to go on so great, but we never fix anything. We are just a broken organization that doesn't get how to win. And that starts from the top. That starts from ownership. That starts from that starts from John Mara sitting in his ivory tower, sitting there and looking down upon all of us and saying, you know what? We got it wrong. Here's a medium Pepsi. Johnny ABA says he re-signed DJ because of the regime of the quarterback. That's when Shane didn't want to give DJ any competition. He basically doubled down his own signing DJ. He refused to see his mistakes. Get Joe Shane out of here. I agree 100%. Mike Glenn says, what's the deal with when the deal was signed, Jones became Shane and Dame's quarterback that should have gone down with the ship. I said that the moment that deal was, the ink was dried on that deal. If Daniel Jones truly did call John Mara at the last minute with that negotiation when everyone in the league said you're not going to get more than the $8 million Mitchell Trubisky got in Pittsburgh. That's what he would have got market value in the league. And if he did truly call John Mara, that at that point in time tells me that is no longer a Gettleman guy. Joe Schoen and Brian Dable picked their quarterback when they gave Daniel Jones $160 million. So that tells me that their thought process behind picking guys, behind getting guys into this organization and into this fold is not the greatest in the world. Mike Lee says, when will we get an apology letter? First, Tim or Jason Garrett? Jason Garrett will get an apology before I did. I missed it. Don't worry, we're going to have a big video tomorrow. Logically, Big Tim, good evening. My best to your friends, as always, and family, as always. Thank you. Mike Lee says, Tim, asking for a game plan is like asking way too much. Matthew says, what do you think about Kafka compared to Dable? I think they're both losers. I've said it before. One of my favorite scenes in The Natural. Roy Hobbs at the end after he's been shot. Or not shot, but he's got the stomach issue. And he comes in and the gambler's in there. And the gambler's telling him, let him ride. Because you want to know why? Because I think you're a loser. And that's what I think about this organization. Joe Rev says, seriously, so done with this franchise. I'm going to become a KC fan to the rest of the seasons. Might as well go from the worst quarterback in the league to the best quarterback in the league. Razzle says, the king of the almost is the greatest sound effect of all time.
King of the almost sack.
That's right. When you talk about that, it needs to be with reverence. I missed that. I missed that clip, ironically. Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? It's like rain when you're trying to watch the Giants play. Oh, it's the big cat. What do we got? Mr. Roberts says, Joe Schoen lost me after his first draft when he drafted Wandell, then a bunch of reaches after that. He drafts are so bad. I'm not going to pick on Wandell because I picked on Wandell enough, and I've talked about this with Wandell. Wandell got dragged down from behind at Kentucky. And I said it during the draft. If you get dragged down from behind at Kentucky, what makes you think you're going to gain separation in the NFL? But once again, I had no clue what I was fucking talking about. Matthew says, I don't know. Shane, only redemption was the last draft. Neighbors, Tracy, Theo, and Newman were huge picks. Theo was still a bust. Newman's playing well. I think poor Neighbors is going to be out of here in 2 years, and let's see what happens with Tracy. Razzle said, who should we have as GM, Tim, if you remove Joe Schoen? I don't care. There's got to be someone off the street that's better. I kind of like the Brandon. They'll never do it. But I kind of like the Brandon Brown idea. If you watched Hard Knocks, Brandon Brown literally at times would tell people the truth, and Joe Schoen would just be like, well, you know. I see it's the J Sports Card. Who is it? No, I'm sorry. No, JJ Strangler says the Kenny G sound effect is hilarious. Well, you know what? Just for you.
Bringing you the smooth sounds of Kenny G. 72 million. Not worth it. As you can plainly see.
Fun OBB fact. That sound effect was made like 15 minutes after he signed the contract. Douglas said, Tim, who would you want to GM? I really like Brandon Brown, but I also worry about hiring in-house. You know what? I'm not worried about hiring in-house. I'm worried about just getting the right guy in there. What does Massey have to say with a big old super chat? I listened to a Boston podcast. Okay. They were making fun of Daniel Jones' missed throws and how much the Giants sucked. They are the way they lost to the Panthers. You lost to the Panthers so badly. You lost to the Panthers so just to a point where you were down 10-0 at the half. The Panthers really did nothing much in that second half whatsoever, and you struggled to tie one of the worst defenses in the league. And for somehow certain Giant fans think it's a moral victory. But if you go outside the Giant collective bubble, people look at it and go, New York is fucked. Mike Lee says, Tim for GM. Yeah, make me GM. Yeah, because like, I could screw up 5 and 7. Oh my God. Because I actually wanted Kayvon. I said that. I didn't want Evan Neal, but I did want Kayvon. Because I didn't see what people saw in reference to him dogging it at Oregon, but now I kind of see what they see. James, are you out there? I'm gonna put the link in the chat for a second here if James or T-Brett are out there. I'm gonna put the needle on the record. Excuse me. It's like rain, swing culture. I think we lose that. No, I think we may beat the Saints. Matthew says Carl Blank's literally even to be the only one saying that even Pat Leonard is off the DJ train. I don't remember who Pat Leonard is. I know he's one of the Giant beat writers, but I can never remember which one he is. And someone was telling me that he's also gotten down on Daniel Jones.
That's what she said.
Sorry, just had to.
That's what she said.
Carl Banks gets paid by the organization. Carl Banks and Joe Pop are giant broadcasters. Howard Cross, they get paid. So I understand that. Make sure you hit the like. Hit the like button, guys. Hey, I got to say this. We're at 49 likes and 115 people in the room, another 100-something people on Twitter. Make sure you hit the like button. Carl Banks is never going to directly criticize the Giant organization. I get that. I'm a dumb YouTuber. Wow, I called myself a YouTuber. I'm like Mr. Beast. Except that I don't make $80 billion a year. But he's never going to say anything bad. I'm going to give you guys a little hint. I'm going to drop some more knowledge today. If the New York Giants paid me and I was on the New York Giant payroll, I probably... No, that's not true. I didn't even believe that one. I would still say shit. Hey, Tim, Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones is shit. The problem, man. Carl Banks Jr. Oh, we miss Carl Banks Jr.
Yeah, I miss being on the show, man.
Oh, I prefer when James comes on and does his Carl Banks because he does it like he is he does it like he's Bill Cosby. Matthew says, hell, Tiki's even done with Daniel Jones. Tiki's another guy that I don't want to talk about. Mike Lee says, sadly, until Marin feels it is the pocket, but nothing has changed. We should be if he keeps going with his money. As we said, Marin is the main issue. We're stuck with the inheritance boy. Oof. I think we lose out. I think we got a shot against the Saints. Well, it depends. If Carr is playing, I'm not sure. Shane picked these misfits, and I feel he has fighting for his job with the presser. That's the other thing. Joe Shane's like, well, we're gonna have like 40 guys back. He's just so swarmy. He is just literally a most ingenuous person that I've seen in so long. There's nothing genuine about him. Everything as he's sitting there in his electric car eating his Uncrustables, saying, yeah, you know what, guys, I'm just like you. I'm the average Joe. Get it? Joe Shane. Oh, yeah. And Brian Dable rolling up the Giants Stadium that first day in a truck. I own a truck. And I remember people going, he's just an average guy. Look at that. He's got a truck. He's just like me. Just once, I wish I would say what I thought. Only organization more cursed than the Jets. Giants are the Jets, and they are the same plate. They are. We are the same people. We are the Jets. And Mr. Evans says, Giants saying without saying they wanted to acquire a boy. Malik Willis literally gave a homeless man the clothes off his back in front, and they passed on him. That is literally Malik Willis went to a Christian university. Literally during the combine, he went and he gave. They give you. I always give you. They you know, these people give you free clothes and all this. He's walking, and the value of a man. Sometimes what they say is what you do when people aren't watching. And Malik Willis went into his suitcase and was giving this homeless gentleman clothes. And then someone that was at a restaurant saw this and took a picture of this. So you're right. If you wanted a choir boy, how much more choir boy can you get than the kid from the Christian university who is so religious, not Tim Tebow religious, but he's extremely religious, always thanks God, always thanks his teammates, always says the right things. And instead we have Daniel Jones. What do we got here? I just saw super chat from Big Ol' Mass. Here we go. Super chat. I'm hyped for the Eagles, the commies. Tuesday Night Football should be a good one, like the Ravens Bengals. I can't make a prediction. Both teams even. I think the Eagles take this game. I think the Eagles take that game. I like Washington, but Washington still needs to build some continuity on that defense. Jaden Daniels, while he's playing more than I ever thought he would ever play, I mean, I thought he would play extremely well his first year, but he has literally reached a pinnacle. I just think they need to just figure out. They're like the Giants, but they're winning. They just need to figure out how to win games and close them out. What's up, Jennifer? But Tim, Jones looks like Eli. Well, you know what? That's sold. It sold me. I'm going to go get an Eli Manning mask and see if I can't play next week. I still got an arm. I can still stop on a dime and give you 9 cents change. No, but I'm going to actually have to go. I'm going with Philly. I'm going to go with Philly. Let's see here. T-Brad says Ward or Sanders needs to be the pick at the end of the day. I love it now because certain people are finally, certain YouTubers are finally jumping back down on the, jumping back around on drafting a quarterback. And I laugh though, because these are guys that told me before that you only want to draft that quarterback because he's black. Well, the two people they want to draft are black quarterbacks. So just gotta play it once.
Maliquans, bringing the
Moral victories are for losers. Winners go home and blank the prom queen. You're best. Losers talk about doing their best. Winners go home and
your best. Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Forget the prom queen. Idiot franchise keeps overestimating themselves. You're 100% right. What do we got here from Creative Solution 7s? I think the head coach is buddy with the locker room and needs to enforce discipline, be a tough coach. That's why I wanted Brian Flores. The players in Miami did not like Brian Flores. Why? Because he was a hard-nosed disciplinarian that even when they traded away all of the talent in Miami, he still won. That's why I wanted Brian Flores. Your best. I laugh because I actually ordered food while I was on the stream here. Mike Lee says 3 games Giants where it went against the worst defense in the league and the most points they could score was 17. Strider says I remember when Lawrence Taylor insisted that Daniel Jones Lawrence Times. Oh my fucking god! I laughed my whole ass off. You know, there's so many people here that we need to have an understanding that they don't, that they just don't get, that they just don't bring it in here. I got to bring in a guest real quick here because I haven't talked to him in a while because he keeps dogging me. Make plans, change plans, make plans, change plans. Like he's got so much other fucking things better to do than hang out with me. Maybe I don't want to hang out with him. Did he ever think of that? Just like that, he's already gone. T-Brad. Come in, T-Brad.
What up?
I can't see you. We
Why
think
not?
that's because I don't know, because there's nothing there.
Oh,
it's
it's dark as anything.
Dude, are you in witness protection? Right now, there is I'm gonna use the voice modulator to change his voice because it's it's T-Brad.
It's really me.
I thought T-Brad was in witness protection program for a moment here. Did you listen to any of the press conference?
No, I don't. I'm so removed from Giants press and anything to do with them. I'm right now on a I told you so tour.
Okay.
I'm on a I told you so tour. When it comes to everything, I told you.
You did. You have been spouting Fire Joe. I think
before
since,
the season started.
I think since training camp. You wanted to do the Joe Must Go shirts.
I think I was all in after the draft. There were a couple things there that made me say Joe must go. You get in, we know the Daniel Jones story and saga and legacy, but you never hedged your bets. When the dealer has an ace, you hedge that bet just in case. Playing blackjack here.
Right.
We never hedged the bet. we even the Kansas City Chiefs has drafted a quarterback, and they got Mahomes.
Yeah.
6th round, 7th round. I'm not saying it again. They tried last year to get Jaden Daniels, but they knew they weren't going to get him. But they never looked to jump back in and get the likes of different players who were there. Even like a Spencer Rattler, something to say, hey, I haven't ignored quarterback completely. You end last season with Daniel Jones injured, question mark, of a quarterback. Danny DeVito, he's only meant to wear baseball caps on the sideline.
He wears them nicely, though.
Yes. And you replace Tyrod Taylor, with a guy who was drafted the same year as Daniel Jones, who's had a worse career than Daniel Jones, to be the backup to Daniel Jones, rather than let Russell Wilson come play it out, rather than trade for Justin Fields. That was what, a 6th, 7th rounder? Pretty easy move. But we did none of that. And when we came into training camp, and again, nothing against Malik Neighbors. I think he's going to be a great player. If he wanted to salvage his career here, he would have got Michael Penix Jr. We probably only win maybe one more game with him, but you have something to build towards. He's put us in a situation that this year coming, it has to be quarterback. Has to be.
I have a question about Malik Neighbors because I watched the press conference. In the press conference, Joe Schoen was asked directly if he made a mistake not addressing the quarterback situation in free agency. He specifically brought up Russell Wilson, and he goes, he hesitates for a minute and goes, no, wouldn't do anything different. If you are Malik Neighbors and if you are the Giants, was now Malik Neighbors truly the right pick at 6 when you now have to go get a quarterback in 2025? Malik Neighbors may not have consistent quarterback play to maybe like year 3 or 4 of him being in this league. Was he a waste at 6, considering the fact that he's only averaging 10 yards a catch? He's only got a 4-yard yak. He's only getting the ball 6 yards off the line of scrimmage. He's got 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, with Marvin Harrison Jr., who has almost half the amount of receptions, but averages 15.9 and 6 touchdowns. And Kyler Murray came out and said, I am not here to get Marvin Harrison the ball. Was he kind of a mistake now at 6? If you're going to have to go back into the quarterback grind, because he may not have reached his full potential until we get someone in here who actually gets him the ball and puts him in the position to score or be that explosive player. Because outside of a couple plays, and I think it has to do with more ball placement and everything else, I don't see the explosiveness of Malik Neighbors.
It's hard to be explosive when you have to anticipate your quarterback throwing the ball behind you and over your head. It's hard to run routes effectively. But the short answer to your question is, yeah, Malik Neighbors was a wasted pick. And whether people want to admit it or not, you get a great wide receiver in with no one to throw him the ball. How he can't be a great wide receiver because no one's going to throw him the ball. When you look at how's Bo Nix playing?
Bo Nix is playing beyond expectations. I mean, he's the Sean Payton's coached him the hell up in Denver.
Not bad. JJ McCarthy hurt this year, but before he got hurt, looking pretty good.
Had the one good game. He got hurt in his one good game.
Yep, looking pretty good. Michael Penix Jr. He's still a question mark, but at least by drafting these people this year, you might not have a wide receiver. You probably would have we probably went in the 2nd round and grabbed somebody. I don't even think any 2nd round wide receivers are doing much this year. But
Keenan Coleman is not he's probably
was he drafted in the 2nd or the 1st?
He was Keenan Coleman was drafted. The Buffalo Bills traded out of the 1st round and picked up Keenan Coleman. 22 receptions, 417 yards, 19 yards of reception, 3 touchdowns.
Well, I'll say this. Ask yourself, would you rather have a Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., or J.J. McCarthy with Coleman in the 2nd round going, even if the record is bad, even if the record's just as bad as it is, and then you come in a draft this year knowing you can maybe take a gamble on a Travis Hunter. You maybe take a gamble on another wide receiver. Hell, you may even trade back and get a bunch of draft capital and make some real moves. But with Joe Schoen there, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter what draft pick we have. It doesn't matter what trades we make. That dude is a fucking idiot. He's a fucking idiot.
I don't want you to hold back on the Joe Schoen criticism. I want you to make sure you understand you can just say whatever you want here. It's 100% okay. Some of the top quarterbacks coming out in this draft right now are black. Just gonna say it because that's what they are. OG Knockout is saying, and we've talked about this before on the show, that the Giants, they won't draft a black quarterback regardless. Do you still think that's going to be the situation, considering you have to look at who's coming out next year?
Okay, man. OG Knockout, man. That's a good statement. And Tim, the question is good. On one hand, I have to go with the history of the franchise, which means OG Knockout is 100% correct. This is what he said with G.I. Jane. How do I know? Because it's a historical fact. 40% of you will not pass this course. But here's the thing. If we're picking 1, 2, or 3, Travis Hunter is definitely going 1 for a non-quarterback picking team. You're picking 1, 2, or 3.
Jaguars.
Right. If it looks like how it's going to be. The top 2 quarterbacks, hands down, at this point, are both black. And I don't think that's going to change. They'll still be black, I mean. So
I don't think that's going to change either.
Yeah. But I don't think Quinn Ewers is going to be able to step up in front and pass him. I think he's probably the third ranked guy, Quinn Ewers. Jalen Milroe, I think he is more of a runner than passer.
I think he is more of a project pick, and I do think he's more of a running quarterback. A quarterback who runs mainly. He's Daniel Jones.
Right. I'm way comfortable drafting Milroe second round, but the problem is we need a quarterback first round too. So I just think it's going to be difficult for them to spin their way out of this. There's only 2 ways to spin their way out of it. One, trade back and say, hey, we've got so many holes on this team that we've got to trade back, and we were still able to grab a franchise quarterback. We thought Quinn Ewers was the guy the whole time. He was number 1 on our board. That's what you say when you miss out on the real number 1 on your board. He was number 1 on our board, and we were able to trade back and still make them and get the player we wanted. That will get them out of the draft a black quarterback type person, type of situation. But if they sit still and say, we're going to take Travis Hunter, not to say Travis Hunter isn't the number 1 player to take, we're just not in a position to take him with a big needed quarterback.
I have a question on that. Carson Beck, at the beginning of the year, was number 1 on the board, most draft boards. Now he's anywhere between 5 and 6. Let's say Carson Beck pulls a J.J. McCarthy, has a good combine, has good personal workouts, nails the interview. Do you think there's any opportunity that the Giants are in the top 5? And let's just say you have Beck and or Sanders or Ward available. Do you have any scenario where they take someone like a Carson Beck?
It's the Giants. They've been force feeding people that Daniel Jones is actually okay. They have no problem doubling down on their narrative and their point of view. It's the Giants. Some of you idiots, and if it doesn't pertain to you, it doesn't pertain to you. But some Giants fans who are idiots really believe that this guy, all he needs is the offensive line, and he'll do great. He sucks. Carson Beck is Daniel Jones 2.0. And Tim, I think I texted you that when they were playing. You did. Georgia was playing Bama. I was like, this dude I see a lot of Daniel Jones similarities.
You did.
Anakin.
You did bring it up.
And even though he came back in that game, he had a great second half, but I've seen enough Daniel Jones similarities to say, no, thank you. No, thank you.
No, thank you. We are going to pass.
But the Giants, I don't put anything past them with dumb moves. If Joe Schoen is picking, why not? No dumb move is off the table.
No move is dumb enough. What are your thoughts of Belichick coming in here?
No, thank you. I do like your idea of football operations type of action, but coach, hell no. He's too old school for these new players, and it won't work. Malik Neighbors will ask for a trade the very first day. He's too old. There comes a point you can be actually too old school to be effective, especially with a team that sucks as bad as we do.
Yeah, we do. Razzle the Great says that's why everyone's wanting Cam Ward, doesn't know what they speak of. Matthew says, I only brought up Oh, we talked about Kafka. Let's see here. Razzle says, I heard GM Joe is high on the Georgia quarterback. Season play in person twice. Hasn't been to a single Cam Ward game. Rodney says, I want to see a different quarterback playing for the Giants for the next game, not Daniel Jones. Would you put in Joe Schoen said that any decision based on Daniel Jones playing or not playing or anyone is going to be a football decision. It's not going to be a decision in reference to having that kicker for the guaranteed money off the injury clause, that it's going to be a football decision. Would you got 7 games left or whatever it is. Would you just start Cam Ward? Not Cam Ward.
I'd love to start Cam Ward. I would
love to as well. Would you start Drew Lock in 2 weeks? You're given, and this is the perfect scenario. You have the time. Not that Drew Lock hasn't been in camp, but you have now the time to give Drew Lock the first team reps and have Tommy DeVito back him up. You have that opportunity now. Would you just throw caution to the wind and just say, hey, listen, let's just give Drew a shot? I'm
scared Drew's going to win some games and get us out of the Cam Ward position.
Well, I'm always scared of that.
I'm scared of that. One thing I'll say is this: shouldn't everything be a football decision if you're managing a football team? Shouldn't they all be football decisions?
Well, I thought that as well, but I'm not as smart as Joe Schoen because no one can score 5 and 7.
You were eating the wrong Crustables.
I got the grape ones, damn it.
Yeah. My this guy's a fucking. I'm so sorry. I don't know what the guy's gonna do, man. Me personally, we have the money that we have to pay him for an injury. You've already overpaid him. Why take another hit by this guy getting injured? That should be a football injury in the best interest of the organization. Joe Schoen is going to go out there and Joe Schoen knows he's getting fired. I don't give a fuck what you said. He knows he's getting fired. Absolutely knows it. And he can be a petty person and say, I'll start Daniel Jones until he gets hurt, and then you guys get stuck with the money and I'm gone anyway. Or you can make an interest in the best move of the organization and start Drew Lock. I start Drew Lock. Everyone's seen enough of Daniel Jones.
I think we know what Drew Lock is. We know what Daniel Jones is, but sometimes it's just something different. Make sure you hit the like button, guys, while you're out there. Matthew says, "Preach, T. Brad." Jennifer says,
"I'm trying, Matt.
No matter what happens at quarterback, Merrill will give the fans a free medium Pepsi at the end of the season." Good luck with that. Is Steve Cohen a Giant fan? Perhaps he could buy the team. No, I don't need Steve Cohen. We've seen what he's done with the Mets. Blazin says this is a very dishonest regime. Let the record show from Shane's interview, Dable. And if you look at where we started, we started 7-2. This regime started 7-2. This regime then went 2-5-1 and has won 8 games since that 2-5-1 finish. They beat one of the worst playoff defenses I have seen in 30 years in Minnesota, and they got shellacked by a real team 2 years ago by the Eagles. There has been no true progression. There has been a regression from last year to where we are now. And I've said this before, I can deal with the losing if I see talent coming in and I see talent getting better. I don't see that on a broad horizon. What gives Mara the thought that we're going to go from 9-7 to 6-11 to maybe 2 wins? I'm seeing the chart do this. What gives Mara the thought process that I have confidence that these guys who went from 9 to 6 to 2 are the right guys to steer this franchise.
I think Daniel Jones just needs a little bit more time. I think that's what he believes.
He needs an offensive line and some more weapons. And a running back.
Yeah, he just needs Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, the Hogs or the Redskins. He needs everybody, and Daniel Jones will play great. I don't know what he sees. I can't make sense of nonsense, and I have no idea what he sees in Joe Schoen. It's been going backwards, and I've been battling people on Facebook to say, "Hey, Gettleman was better than Joe Schoen. Prove me wrong." And it's amazing that a team that is always at the bottom of offenses loses their best player who's been carrying the franchise over the last 6 years, that the offense would regress. Imagine that. You lose your best player and the offense regresses, even though the offensive line got better. How does that happen?
And allegedly the wide receiving core got better. And I kept saying this with people over and over again, and nobody wanted to listen. The wide receiver core didn't get better because you added all this talent. It got better because you added one guy. Everyone else is the same. That I see this lunacy. How we now have the best wide receiver room in the NFL. No, you added one player. You subtracted Sterling Shepard, but you still have Wan'Dale Robinson. You still have Darius Slayton. Injured. You still have Isaiah Hodgins now. You still have everyone you had last year. The wide receiver room is no different, except for one guy.
Isaiah Hodgins is a practice player on any team but the Giants.
Well, he played last week.
That's what I'm saying. Except the Giants, he's a practice squad player. But again, why is the team regressing if the coach is good, as you say, the GM is picking it up as he's supposed to? Excuse me. The team should do better. And look at all the Gettleman guys
that Joe Schoen re-signed,
that he let go.
You mean Julian Love, Xavier McKinney, Evan Ingram, and Saquon Barkley?
Yeah. And got nothing for them, I believe. Nothing for any of them.
Landon Collins?
Yeah.
Well, Landon Collins was before him, but I'm just saying, I'm just throwing that into the giant way.
Yeah, it's our way. Like, hey, we're going to get a player. We're going to get him in here. We're going to get him good, and then we're going to send him somewhere else to win Super Bowls. All right? That's that. We're the farm team for other good teams. Come to the Giants. Get yourself a player. If you got a player who sucks and is awfully injured, bring him in. We'll sign him to a big deal. When we'll give you draft picks for that piece of shit. Come on, Darren Waller.
Give us a John Beeson. We'll be fine. Don't worry.
Yep.
We can pay with the best. Let's see. Jay Sporks Car says we need so much a quarterback, a cornerback, a defensive tackle, and more line depth, and maybe another wide receiver. Jay Sports Car. I'm not saying anything about you. One thing on this team that's so overlooked, and Joe Schoen never talks about it. Brian Dable never talks about it. Only person that talked about it was Shane Bowen. We really don't have any linebackers. You can like Micah McFadden, good player. I think he's never going to be more than what he is, which is going to be a second to third linebacker, or maybe a third or a fourth linebacker on a good team. Bobby Okereke, to me, at times is suffering from the Blake Martinez year 2 hangover, where he seems to kind of lost the step a little bit. Yeah. And while we have these two carbon copy defensive ends that both have the same deficiency in maintaining their assignment, holding the edge, and playing the run, which is why I said right before training camp, the only thing what I would do as an offensive coordinator is just run right. If people said I was crazy, I would just run right at Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns. I wouldn't run around them. I wouldn't run in the interior. I would run right at them because neither of them are good at the run, and there's no linebackers behind them. We need linebackers. Shane Bowen said it in Hard Knocks. Joe Schoen asked him again, what do you need? I need 2 linebackers. And we
defensive tackle.
Or a defensive tackle. But we still don't even look at that. And we still, and I'm not saying anything with Jay Sports Card about that, but I keep saying you want to take a look at the biggest issues on one of these on this team. It is the lack of depth at the linebacker position. You can have your two defensive ends rushing forward, but they're going to over pursue. They're both kind of light. And if you have no one in the second level playing a yard or two off the line of scrimmage, bad shit's going to happen against the run.
Yep.
And we saw this before training camp. Mr. Bruce. I got a Jaws drop in Mr. Bruce. I see Mr. Bruce, and we haven't talked to Mr. Bruce in a while. What's going on, my brother? How you doing?
Hey, man. These Giants have been just so disappointing. So
you had hope?
No, I didn't have hope.
I'm messing with you, brother.
You know what it is? I felt like, and I kind of made this thought to myself. I said, until the Giants organization starts thinking with their heads instead of their dicks, I'm not going to care emotionally about what they do. Because when they start making dumb decisions, I'm not going to care anymore. Because it's like, so we signed Daniel Jones, been terrible. All these past decisions.
He won a playoff game.
Yeah, it's like
Tim Tebow won a playoff game too. Danny Cannell won a playoff game.
Oh,
Scott Bruner won a playoff game. Hell, I think I won a playoff game. Trey Turner won a Super Bowl.
Hold on. Do you see? Do you see this? Do you see what this is right here? This table right here. You see this table right here?
What is that?
This table had the same amount of passing yards that Daniel Jones had in that first half last week. I'm fucking done with this guy. Look at Leo. This is my dog right here. You see Leo?
Hi, Leo.
Yeah.
What up, buddy?
Leo. Cute dog. Leo had the same amount of passing yards as Daniel Jones had in the first half last week.
But not rushing yards.
Not rushing yards. Good point. Good point.
Yeah, those rushing yards made him $40 million worth. So here's my question, guys. Do you think we should bench Daniel Jones strictly so that we make sure that he doesn't get injured? Because, okay, now you got to get down. Sorry, Leo. Because if he gets injured and he can't clear protocols, we have to pay him, what, $25 million?
Yeah. If he can't pass his physical in March.
So do you think I think we should bench him, me personally.
Well, according to Joe Schoen, this is not going to be based off of salary cap. This is going to be based off of football decisions in reference to talent. Now, I always call bullshit, but but Mr. Bruce, I can't take you seriously. You have a Kevin Durant net shirt on.
Yeah.
Not even a Golden State Warrior one. I literally cannot take you seriously right now. Remember when they built the dream team in Brooklyn?
Oh yeah, I'm not a Nets fan. Somebody bought this for me because he was on my fantasy team one year. So
all right. I just want to make sure you didn't wear that because you.
I respect that. I respect that.
Absolutely not. To show it's a throwaway shirt. It's a throwaway.
I understand that. I understand.
You know what you do? Paint one of your rooms one day. Get some paint on there. That way, when you wear it, you're like, it's just my paint shirt.
Just
put a couple paint speckles on there. You're good.
I was painting the garage, so that's what's going on here, man. I wasn't really wearing the Kevin Durant net shirt.
Yeah.
Don't worry, man. I had an Eagles shirt on the other day.
Yeah, but I say you sit. I say you sit Daniel Jones. You sit him. You got to sit him. Hey Tim, real quick though, you weren't the only one to be upset with that Wandell pick.
Oh,
because
no.
Remember, I was like, are you telling me you took this guy over George Pickens? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Oh, but he's like a slot guy. You take the better player.
But the problem
especially if they play the same position.
People keep forgetting this. When we drafted him as a slot player, we had just drafted Kadarius Toney the year before, and Kadarius Toney was still on the team.
Yeah.
It's
two-time Super Bowl winning.
It's not like we got rid of Kadarius Toney and then said, you know what, we need to get a slot guy in Wandell. You take a Smurf in the second round because of the fact why we needed more weapons for Daniel Jones.
We needed everything for Daniel
Weapons.
Jones. We needed the turf on the ground to be more watered for Daniel Jones for him to be successful.
They actually did.
But
change
look at the effect if they take George Pickens. If they take George Pickens, maybe Neighbors isn't so much of a need, and we could take a shot on that quarterback.
I love Charles Barkley here. Bro is wearing a Nets shirt.
He loves
pain. He loves pain. You got to say it with the say sewer. You got to say that dramatic.
Yeah.
He loves pain. This is a good one right here from Royal Money Entertainment. DeAndre Baker, and Deonte Banks are busts. I don't think Deonte Banks is a bust. I think the problem is this with Deonte Banks. He was a Wink guy. Wink nearly hugged the snot out of Joe Schoen when they drafted him because he knew he fit in the system. You're now trying to take a square peg and jam it into a round hole with Shane Bowen and Mr. Banks. And yes, Banks did not show effort, but there are some other players on this team I can call out. And I called out Bobby Okereke a couple times. That Bobby Okereke in the same game that we blasted Banks, there was a play that I can't remember the name of the running back that went to the sidelines. You could physically see Bobby Okereke as the trailer slowing up, not running towards the play. But we are going to go after Banks and we are going to blast him instead. He's not a Deonte Baker Banks. Excuse me. He is not he's not a Nino Baker Brown. He's not. He's just not there, and he's not an Eli Apple. The kid will be fine. He just got to get his head on straight. He has been in good positions on certain plays. They just were hell of a play by the quarterback and the wide receiver, but we don't give credit to the other team because of the fact that we should be able to stop every single play. Come on, someone debate it. Someone say it.
It's not even a debate. I think one thing that a lot of people have an issue, and I realize it, and it's not even only with Giant fans, but also with Jet fans. A lot of people are blaming the defense, and it's like your defense can only be so effective when your offense is when you get a 3 and out, and your offense is just throwing picks, throwing random. Like it's not convert. It's only kicking field goals. Like you have to.
We throw our picks in the red zone, buddy.
Yeah, that's what we throw. We throw our picks with the best of them
in the red zone.
In the red zone, we throw our picks when they fucking count. That's when we throw our picks. Swing Culture's got it right.
That's great. That's just fucking great, man. Now what the fuck are we supposed to do? We're some real pretty shit now, man.
Game over, man. Game over.
We really.
I think DeAndre Baker is a bust. That's obvious. He's not on anybody's team now, is he?
He's not on anyone. No, he's
right. So that's how you can measure one level of measuring a bust. I think Banks plays a more bump and run style, and I think this defense he's playing is it not? What the fuck? Isn't conducive to his talents and the way he plays the game.
Zone centric.
Yeah, it's not his strong suit. So if we traded him to a team that played more bump and run and got the right thing out of him, I think you see better out of him because I think he played better under Wink than he's playing now. Listen, he's struggling now for a reason.
I've said this about Shane Bowen. If Shane Bowen ran the system that he ran in Tennessee, he is not known for cultivating cornerbacks. He uses his safety more. He plays more of a zone. Outside of the 2 years that Jim Schwartz was his mentor, his secondaries have been terrible in the NFL. That's just what it is. And I worried that when we brought him in that he was going to try to fit his system to the players, not the players to the system. I thought he just wasn't going to work out. I give Shane Bowen all the credit in the world. He saw what he had and he's adjusted his system to a certain point, but the problem is it's not going to be 100% conducive to a lockdown, man-to-man, bump and run, shutdown corner as Wink's system is. And I think people need to understand that. And I think that's kind of where we get lost in the sauce with Banks, that he's gonna need to find a system that fits him, and it's just not there. Mike Glenn says McFadden is horrible in coverage. We don't talk about that, and McFadden also misses a lot of tackles. So we need to be honest about. He's a great kid. He's a hard nosed player. He's a lunch pail guy. He's a meat and potatoes guy, but he just gets lost in coverage and he does miss a lot of tackles.
We do need linebackers. I remember the Giants used to have a lot of good linebackers. Remember those days? Pass rushing.
No.
They used to do so much good thing. We used to have a defense, and we don't got no identity. What the hell?
We never do. Banks doesn't fit the system. Of course not. Let's see. Bobby O has been a disappointment. The only group I want to be a part of is OBB Family and the DJ Haters Club. Always, like I said, make sure you go get your DJ Hater Club stickers. We have plenty of them. We also have shirts available. Also, go out and go to Yiso Fitness. Check out that new M1 bike. What's that?
Where you buy them shirts at? I need one.
Dude, just email me and I'll send you one.
We got to print up those Joe Must Go shirts.
Joe Must Go shirts are coming. Email, dude, Mr. Bruce.
We got to get them together.
Just email me at Timid Online Big Blue, and I'll I will send you one.
I need one, and I need that contract. I need you to put those not the contract, but the apology letters. I need like 12 of those.
You need like 12. I should print out the apology letters because I do think people owe me an apology, but that's never gonna happen. Matthew says it's trash can, Dan. We all know it. You should do a live stream from the Star Tavern in Orange, New Jersey. Well, they didn't invite me. So they invite me. I come.
Make the connection. Make the connection.
Yeah,
we'll be there.
DNT reviews, make the connection. Those that do not know, of course, we did the live stream a couple weeks back at the Shannon Rose and Clifton, New Jersey. We had a great time. We have another live stream coming up from another location at another bar. Shockingly, I get invited to bars. But we are going to do another live stream in December, I think it is. So we're going to have more information on that coming down. So we're going to make sure that J Sports Card says he's not Ryan Conley. And Ryan Conley played the same defense at Wisconsin that when he came in with James Betcher's defense. He played the exact same defense. So he was successful for those games before he got hurt because he went into the exact same defense. And then what happened is when he got hurt and they got traded to Minnesota, he just left. I think he's still in the league. I think he's with the Saints now. But he was never as good as he's ever going to be because of the fact that he just came directly from one system and played the exact same system. So that's why Ryan Conley was successful and then kind of flamed out. Mr. Jackson says, we need to realize DJ wanted to keep the injury clause. That is why he got benched. Think about it. This man wanted an extra $20 million rather than prove he deserves to be an NFL quarterback. We don't know if that's true. We don't know if Daniel Jones has. There is speculation on Twitter, and there's the guy, Pretty Ricky, who I'm going to basically say it is full of shit because he's an NFL insider. He's full of shit because what he does is he takes stuff from other people that have posted and then claims it to be his. Like he said today that Daniel Jones doesn't want to waive him, so they're not going to play it. They don't want to waive the clause, so they're not going to play him anymore. But the only problem with that, Pretty Ricky, was Adam Schefter said that 7 hours before you decided to post it. So just throwing that out there. I'm just being honest about that. But DJ, we don't know if he's not waiving the injury clause. We don't know that. We are going to, if you even waive him, we're still going to be 23 something million in dead cap space. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Tim, I have a question.
Shoot.
So do you think that we will be able to build around a rookie quarterback while having to take care of Daniel Jones's contract? Because that was always my biggest thing with drafting a rookie quarterback. The reason why the Eagles are where they are is because they got Jalen Hurts at his rookie contract and then traded for AJ Brown, drafted Devontae Smith, and they had and then they were able to pay for Saquon Barkley. You know, they had the cap space to be able to do it. Do you think that the Giants will be able to have the cap space? Because this year is washed. You know, this is all tank. Yeah, we're going for the full tank.
We can still make the playoffs.
I need that weed you're smoking. But
I didn't even start smoking yet.
You didn't even smoke. It's still early.
Well,
I'm drinking Miller High Life.
Oh well. I need that beer then. That sounds like but so do you think that we will be able to successfully build a team similar to how the Eagles were able to successfully build it successfully, you know, because we don't, you know, but similar in that fashion, if you understand what I'm saying?
Listen, I'm going to say this, and I've said this a million times before and over. Howie is a mad genius in Philadelphia. He is a mad genius. He breaks down the team. They'll have one bad year, then they'll have a good year. He understood that the Jalen Hurts contract gave him the benefit to be able to go out and trade people and to make moves. But then he had a stroke of genius with this contract that people don't get the Jalen Hurts contract. Jalen Hurts in 2023 only made $6 million. 2024, his cap hit is $13 million. 2025, $21 million. 2026, $31 million. He does not make Daniel Jones money until 2027 when it's a $41 million hit, which is only 13% of the salary cap space, and it's only a $20 million dead cap number. Howie gave him all this money up front in reference to his bonus money, which wrecked it in regards to dead cap space. And Jalen asked for a no trade clause. And Howie was like, yeah, I'll give it to you. Want to know why? Because you have $120 million dead cap space. I am never going to be able to move on from you for the first 3 years of this deal. And you don't make NFL starting money until 2027. And I can get rid of you and still only owe half that money, and I could be out of the contract in 2028. That is a master class in a contract that we just can't figure out. And and honestly, I don't know if it's Chris Mara. I don't know if it's our cap situation, but a team like the Eagles can add all these players, Saquon Barkley, can add AJ Brown, can give all these players money and fit them under the cap. And we have to trade Leonard Williams because we don't have enough money to sign a quarterback. That's Joe Schoen cap management 101.
So the answer, do you think
the answer is no?
The answer is no. Okay.
The answer is no.
The long answer, no.
I just like talking about it, my mass knowledge of Jalen Hurts' contract.
Right. So the answer is straight up. So even with Cam Ward, do you think we're going to have to trade away some assets?
No. You're going to be able to fit Cam Ward under the cap because he's going to be even at the high pick. He's going to be a first round pick. It's not like you're going to go out and spend $40 million on a quarterback. You're going to be able to fit Cam Ward in. You get rid of Daniel Jones. Joe Schoen, and hopefully it's not Joe Schoen. If you go back to the Logan Ryan deal, and people are gonna be like, Tim, why the fuck are you bringing this up? When we waived Logan Ryan, we could have did a pre-June 1st cut, which you were allowed 2 of them that you can do before June 1st. And what that allows you to do is just get rid of a player and get rid of his cap space well between June 1st. What Joe Schoen decided to do was, instead of taking that pre-June 1st cut and dividing up the cap space hit over 2 years, Joe Schoen took it all up front, took it all at once. So instead of us saving like $7 million that year, we only saved $697,000, which we could have used the money. That is mismanagement of the cap. That is cap, putting you in cap purgatory because of the fact that you don't understand that you need to divide. Sometimes when you can divide up cap space, that's the thing to do instead of taking it all in that bucket, because you need cap space to sign players, to sign free agencies, to bring in draft picks. We just haven't gotten that in the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's been my only thing that I've always wondered about taking a rookie quarterback, because it's like, we do have Malik Neighbors, we do have all these players, but it's like, can we really build? We can build around Cam Ward, or I'm sure you want Cam Ward over Deion Sanders, right? Not Deion Sanders, that's Shedeur Sanders, right?
The only thing about Shedeur Sanders that I don't like is, and he reminds me attitude-wise of Josh Rosen. And one of the things I said about Josh Rosen when he came out of UCLA, there's no way in hell I want this kid. I did a video about this. There's no way in hell I want this kid in New York, because I don't think that he has the mental fortitude to deal what he's going to have to deal with in New York. Because you've seen some cracks in his armors, even in Colorado. He had the game I forget what game it was, but he had the game where he went after and went up to the opposing quarterback because they were talking shit about each other on Instagram, and he basically was calling him out. He's called out his players. He's you know what I think he's immensely talented, but he's never really played for anyone but his father. And he's the coach. I always go back to when I played. He's the coach's son. You know, he's not going to be the coach's son when he hits New York. He's going to have to stand on his own unless you're going to have Dion coach the Giants.
How would you feel about that?
No. I see a lot of Lorenzo and LaMelo Ball in this.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a
They two different animals. They're two different animals.
Mentally talented, but two overbearing fathers.
I think it's a little different. When you look at Prime, when you go to Ball, first of all, both of them are fathers just trying to put their kids in the best position, just like anybody, right?
No, of course, I agree with that 100%.
But I think Ball is overbearing as he was dealing with them as young men, as in it has to be this way, it has to be that way, and some of the marketing things. I think with Prime is turning young kids, young boys into grown men. And I think another thing with Prime, he's going to be involved, but only to a point. Now, is he going to get interviewed and say something? Yeah, that's Prime. He ain't going to step out of line, but he already has Shedeur Sanders working with Tom Brady. And don't get me wrong, Tim, I agree with you that I don't know if Shedeur Sanders' attitude will survive the New York atmosphere because he's an entitled rich kid. That's literally what he is. But his talent, I can't deny. He throws the ball.
You cannot deny his talent. You cannot deny his talent whatsoever.
And he's used to a crappy offensive line. So he's already in the. It's not what he does on the field.
He's already halfway to being a Giant.
Yeah, it's not what Sanders does on the field that worries me. It's what happens off the field. That's what's more of a concern with me. And when you make that investment, but again, after dealing with Daniel Jones, I might just take anybody. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Listen, if you draft Sanders, I am not going to sit there and say, "Oh, I'm upset with." Great example. Eli Manning, 2019, Daniel Jones, first home game against the Jets, preseason. Eli Manning starts the game. Eli Manning is booed the moment he takes the field. Daniel Jones comes in, throws a touchdown pass in the corner of the end zone against the Jets. You would think the Messiah has shown up in the building. But you sat there with Eli Manning for 16 years, and you've had vanilla, and now you think you're getting Rocky Road. So everyone is just like, it's something different. I'm not going to complain if they take Sanders. I'm not going to complain if they take Milroe. I'm not going to complain if they take Ward. I might complain if they take Carson Beck because I don't think Carson Beck's an NFL quarterback, but I'm not going to complain because you know what? I would not complain if you start Drew Lock or Danny DeVito for the rest of the season. I don't care because it's something different.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. And like I said, Sanders may be a good kid. Dion's going to spout off. I don't know if Dion's even going to let him come here. But
no, I don't think he will.
I don't think he will either because of the mess that this situation is. But at the end of the day, it's not Daniel Jones.
I like anything that says that. I haven't worn any Giants paraphernalia all football season. I've worn game starts. I don't got a shirt on. I don't got nothing. I don't want to be associated with that stupidity that has been happening in this front office for so long. Coach Prime doesn't want his son to play for the Giants. I probably think so.
I agree with that. 100%.
I think so because one thing we do know is whether it be Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, they won't be given this much time and patience.
That's the last question I'm probably going to bring up for the night because I do think that's an interesting question because of we never shy away from the race topic here. We always talk about it head on, but and I know people like James Williams and some other people have said they don't want the next quarterback to be a black quarterback because they are not going to be given the same opportunity that Daniel Jones has gotten. I mean, do you guys agree with that in any way?
Let's say it together. Let's say it together. Ready, set, go. Hell yeah, we black.
Yeah.
We used to that. You like the and it's not just in football, it's in a lot of things. When you get an opportunity that may be above a station or a high profile station, a lot of times people think you got it because of your color. So they're extra critical of you when they're not as critical of somebody who's white or is looking like them because you have that understanding. Like you have empathy for that man. Nowhere in history are you taught to have empathy for a black person or black man. You know what I mean? That's called being soft. You know what I mean? Where mental health, how many people you think went through mental health? It took white people to make mental health a real thing that people had to understand. Like, yeah, motherfuckers are stressing out. It's a real thing. So that race part plays a part of it. And then here's another thing. You just got done this Daniel Jones situation. So being that you're fresh off of that, even the white quarterback ain't gonna get as much time as Daniel Jones because we just saw what happens when you just double down on a bad investment. It doesn't make the investment any better. And the Giants' biggest
down on a bad investment.
Yeah, the Giants' biggest problem, and this is Joe Schoen's biggest problem, and this is why his legacy is he's got to get the fuck up out of here, is you sign him to 100 and whatever $1 million, 160?
60.
160.
You signed him to $160 million, right? That's cool. Fine. I hated the signing. But then after you sign him, in another separate conversation about another person's contract, you said, well, we still got to see what we got with Daniel Jones. Why the fuck you signed $160 million if afterwards you said we got to see what we got in him? You should have known what you had when you signed the money to him.
Yep.
And Tim, you said right away, that is no longer Gettleman's pick.
That is now a Joe Schoen guy.
That's not a Joe Schoen guy.
Yep.
You had opportunity, and he had opportunities to draft quarterbacks late, early. Malik Willis was there. There were quarterbacks he could have got. So if Daniel Jones looks bad, hey, we're going to go in this direction. I did try to get a quarterback. That's what made Philly's move to get Hurt so amazing because they had just got done paying Carson Wentz a big ass contract. Yep. And they said they're in practice. They see the bullshit. They didn't try to sell them like Carson Wentz is going to be the next great thing. We said, you know what? Let's go get Jalen Hurts just because, Carson Wentz has been getting hurt. That's how they sold it. Carson Wentz has been getting hurt. Carson Wentz is still the guy. We just want to make sure that we have something in place in case Carson Wentz should get injured again. And Daniel Jones is an injured quarterback. No one would have questioned if you got somebody in the second, third, fourth, fifth round. But no. Joe, you know it all. Go ahead, Joe.
No, I would never pick up Riley Leonard because he went to Duke. I'm sorry. He played 3 years at Duke. I never want to see a Duke quarterback again. Never whatsoever. Never whatsoever. You know what, guys? I'm going to have to go head out because it is dinner time. I appreciate Mr. Bruce dropping by, Mr. T-Brad dropping by as well.
Thank you, brother.
It's always fun to have everyone come on in. So we're going to close this out real quick. This is Tim. This is T-Brad. This is Jabari Bruce.
Hey.
This is Online Big Blue. Bring you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. We're going to have a big video tomorrow breaking down the Joe Schoen press conference. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Everyone have yourself a good time. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out on Twitter and on the YouTube. And we are out of here. Have yourself a good night, everyone.